Well, for more on this, let's bring in Andrew Ullmann. He's a member of the German parliament for the FDP. That's one of the parties that will make up Germany's next coalition government. And he's also a doctor with expertise on infectious diseases. Thanks for joining us. Dr. Ullmann, should COVID vaccines be mandatory?
We have to look at very carefully. Mandatory vaccination is a great challenge if we're going to this direction. Clear is here in Germany that the vaccination rate is still too slow to break any kind of wave that we are facing. The fourth wave is devastating. Our hospitals, especially in southern and southeast Germany, are overwhelmed at the moment, and we need more people to get vaccinated, not only get their first shots, but also the booster vaccinations are very important because the effectiveness of a vaccine is waning, and this has to be made clear, and therefore we're debating very strongly a mandatory vaccine campaign, which probably will start in springtime or late winter, since this is not as easy to implement. However, at the moment, a lot of people would like to get vaccinated. The waiting lines are long, but we are having some difficulties in delivering the vaccine to the people, which I think is a very challenging situation.
Okay, so you've described the situation, but you really haven't answered my question. Should COVID vaccinations be mandatory in Germany?
I personally think that the vaccination should now become mandatory since our healthcare systems are being overwhelmed. My vision of a mandatory vaccination would focus on people over the age of 50, because these are the patients that are in the hospitals, that are in the ICU, and are receiving mechanical ventilation. So beyond the age of 50, I do see a lot of room for mandatory vaccination.
Okay, so you see a lot of room for it. You see things heading in that direction. You, of course, are aware that the polls in Germany show that a majority of the people support it, including in your own party. The Chancellor supports a mandate. Do you think it's inevitable now that Germany will have a COVID vaccination mandate?
I'm afraid so. I'm a strong believer in responsibility and a self-decision making of each individual. However, in a situation like a pandemic, which has some devastating effect to our society, mandatory vaccination has to be discussed and put in place. And I think there's no working around it anymore at this stage in time, because we're just at the beginning of winter. And as an infectious disease specialist, I'm fully aware that even though the infection rates are slightly declining the last 3 days, this could just be a brief pause for the next wave that is heading towards us. And we need to get the vaccines into the people as quick as possible. Your party, the FDP, will be part of the next government. Do you, and aside from what will probably be a vaccination mandate, do you think there will be major changes in the way Germany has been dealing with the pandemic? I do think there will be some major changes the way we are going to handle the pandemic, especially how the executive government, the chancellery, will be working. There will be a general from the army who's going to organize the vaccine in Germany, but also see what the infections are doing, and especially doing to the healthcare system. We're going to invite many specialists around our country to participate in roundtable discussions so that we as politicians know what to do, what's the next best step to do. And this has to be done with scientists together to make sure that we get out of this pandemic crisis, not only in Germany, but also through Europe and the world. Dr. Ullmann, thank you very much for talking with us again. That was Andrew Ullmann, member of the German parliament for the FDP party.